Hello, everyone. Many greetings and thank you once again, Sakya Friends, and all the organizers and translators, and of course, all the audience members joining me here tonight and tomorrow night. The comprehensive teachings on the Bodhisattva vows. Uh, in the previous two sessions, we covered the uh, Bodhisattva vow teaching part one, which mainly covered the 18 root vows. This tonight and tomorrow we will cover um, the 46 secondary vows, and then also actual Bodhisattva vow ceremony, and tomorrow night. Um, so we will see how far we can cover tonight. Um, and first of all, we will all do the refuge prayers and cultivation of the very motivation of bodhicitta. The prayers that you may all be able to join with me. Anyway, I will say the prayers slowly so that you too can join, because receiving teaching on the Bodhisattva vow itself is one way to boost the knowledge and memory and implementation of the Bodhisattva vows. When we are properly engaging in the act of teaching and listening and translating, these are all Bodhisattva's activities. So it goes to fulfill the very vows. So the prayer we will do at the very beginning is just a warm-up, just to start up the engine of the bodhicitic intention, so that we all do a good session by how we present ourselves physically, sitting present, and then intentionally listening and thinking and translating with the very joyful intention. Uh, the translation is a very difficult task. So if you can't catch all the words to translate, don't worry. Try to synthesize whatever you got and put the best understanding you have with a very good motivation coming from your heart. Um, Sometimes we try very hard to linguistically make it very accurate, but then we become so frustrated thinking we miss one clause or one phrase. And these things are, we are not here to do anything but practice Dharma. So practicing Dharma means we have to be contented, whatever we can do. Even you miss some, don't worry about what you missed, but do the thing what you can do best. And that's really bodhicitta is always how to have a good intent, how to translate, how to deliver, and you don't have to feel I missed this, the I didn't get that phrase, I didn't get that joke. The Rinpoche spoke too many words, I couldn't catch it. Don't get frustrated. Uh, I will try to be slow, but at the same time, I have been a translator too, you know. So whatever I can listen and I translate, but I don't worry about the part what I miss, because you are all doing fantastic. Simultaneous translation is much, much harder. fact that you're all doing it is quite amazing. I did not do simultaneous translation for many years. I just did a traditional way of translating. Then later on, I need to learn to do that. So you are all doing a wonderful job. Thank you very much. So that's just a small tip for our fellow translators. Thank you very much. Now we will do the prayers. First, Refuge in the Triple Gem. In the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, I take refuge in enlightenment by virtue of Yevendala. I shall Buddha to be in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, I take refuge enlightenment by virtue of Yevendala. I shall Buddha to be in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, I take refuge enlightenment by virtue of Yevendala. I shall Buddha to be. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those who are near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and cause of suffering. May they never part from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. So, continuing the teaching on the 46 secondary Bodhisattva vows. Of course, the list of the Bodhisattva vows are in the name of the transgressions, So what it call 46 secondary infractions. They always list the vows in "Thou shalt not," but it could be also "Thou shalt." So if you want to put a kind of positive slant to the vows, they are "Thou shalt," even though the list of the vows says "Thou shalt not." Anyway, so we discussed the 18 root vows, which are related to the main Bodhisattva's main vows, wishing and engaging. But then these 46 are secondary vows, but each are very related to the 6 paramitas, 6 main practice of the Bodhisattvas. I can call it 6 tries and 1 perfection, because they are all, each of the 6 perfections, such as generosity, perfection of generosity, perfection of discipline, perfection of patience, perfection of diligence, perfection of meditative concentration, and perfection of transcendental wisdom. All of these 6 you try, but each of these 6 cannot be practiced without intersecting with each of the other 5, and particularly with the 6th, which is the wisdom. So only if you have the wisdom that goes with the practice of generosity and so on, then they all become 6 perfections. So therefore, when we go through the list of the infractions connected with each of the 6 perfections, we will therefore understand in that context. Before going into the list of the vows, I would like to remind that I gave you the first 4 analogies of bodhicitta. The 3 analogies of wishing bodhicitta, and 1 analogy of engaging bodhicitta. The 3 analogy of wishing bodhicitta were the intention should be firm and stable like that of earth. And then the quality of the intention, altruism is totally selfless. Qualities of intention should be like the pure gold, like the gold when tested, when burned, when rubbed, when beaten. The more you do the 3 levels or many different ways of testing, the gold does not show the weak qualities of other metals, So likewise, when we practice our intention of altruism, it should be always, we have to check, we have to test whether my intention is gold-like altruism or it has a hidden agenda. So we need to therefore test our intention whether it is good quality or not. So that's the gold analogy. And then as you practice your intention, even after testing, it should wax like the moon. It should get brighter and brighter. So maybe you practice intentional bodhicitta yesterday at work, and then tomorrow, is it improving or you're about to give up? So if your intention is waning, not waxing, then we are not even keeping the vow of aspirational bodhicitta. So these 3 first analogies are very important to remember and safeguard our intention. Because Bodhisattva vows is largely mental vows, it's almost very little physical vows or verbal vows. You will see later on the list of the vows will highlight the vows of the mind is paramount, even though physical conduct and verbal speech are equally important, but one has to check the intention. So that's why the first 3 analogy of earth like a very stable and firm belief in the merit of bodhicitta, and very disgusted with the demerit of selfishness. Yeah? And so you have basically renounced selfishness and adopted selflessness, bodhicitta. That's earth. And then as you practice each day, maybe a couple of months, years after practice bodhicitta, you're so amazed by the quality of bodhicitta, how much happiness, lack of stress, and lack of expectation you experience as a result of practicing the bodhicitta. So you can see the quality of your intentions is improving, and quality is better. Not just something looks nice to start with and then lose the momentum in a few weeks' time. It's not like that. The gold is always stay very pure gold. So we need to test and examine if our intention is staying qualitatively better and better, like a waxing moon. Then we are minding our intentional bodhisattva vows. So those three analogies are for wishing. Then the overall analogy of all the engaging bodhisattva vow is fire. The fire burns all incineratable things, all combustible materials are unhesitatingly burnt by the fire, isn't it? And they all turned into ashes. Nothing is left. Likewise, when you practice any of the bodhisattva vows pertaining to 6 parameters, each of the application of your bodhisattva conduct, both in thought and action, incinerates the antithesis of the 6 parameters, such as miserliness is completely burned and incinerated. And your lack of discipline is completely destroyed and is thing of the past. And like your hatred and ill will is no longer showing. There's nothing left. It's all incinerated. If you apply the bodhisattva vow of keeping the bodhisattva vows of patience, you will have no impatience left. Previously you were impatient with certain things. Now you don't show any sign of that to people, and they also can show how much, patient, or how much more tolerant you have become, and you will attract so much love and respect from others instead of hate and hostility and aggression that you previously experienced. You know why? Because the fire of practicing bodhicitta has burnt all your hostility and aggression in impatience. And others can feel the difference in you. Even when other people are showing their hostility to you, there is no sign that you will be upset, but you are instead generating loving kindness and patience readily and without any hesitation. And you can quickly incinerate the hostility and feeling that they are harming you. You completely snap it off. You no longer will feel the hostility, aggression from theirs, because you're able to burn it away. Now, I'm not saying just merely remembering these analogies will empower you to do straight away, but over time you will see how much you are progressing on the path. So, Bodhisattva vow is not a burden. It is a kind of gift. It's like armor. It makes you ready to go in the fighting with the selfishness. Now your problem and opposition is not people, but your own enmity and impatience and selfishness. So you're armed. When you remember the Bodhisattva vows, you're armed and you are fully armored. How to combat this self-cherishing and the opposite of generosity, miserliness, and opposite of discipline, lack of discipline, and opposite of patience, the impatience. So in this way, the fire analogy has to be remembered. And so those first 4 out of 22 analogies were covered in the previous teachings. Now tonight's teaching goes to elaborate each of the vows pertaining to each of the 6 paramitas. Now, I would like to say that there are 7 attachments, which are the 7, I would say, setbacks, 7 obstacles in practicing generosity as well as the other 5 paramitas. So I will just give you the list of the 7 attachments, and you will find so useful to check whether these 7 attachment or at least one of them has been burnt by the fire. Okay. With regard to generosity, the first attachment is attachment to wealth or material possessions. Yeah? So if we are attached to material possessions and we are not giving them to sentient beings, of course it is a transgression. When we need to, people want us to give, we are not giving them. So our reason we are not giving is most probably we are attached to the thing. We want to keep it for ourselves, don't we? It seems pretty sane to keep things for ourselves. They could look after yourself first. But in Bodhisattva vows, it's supposed to be otherwise. Look after the other first, and give the things you have to others without attachment. So that's the first attachment, is attachment to wealth. The second attachment is procrastination from practicing generosity, saying, I will do next month, I will do next year, I will do when I retire. And in the meantime, I'm not ready to practice generosity, you see. So the attachment to procrastination of practicing generosity. This is the second attachment. The third one is the attachment to satisfaction that one has given enough. So attached, I have already given this much, that's enough, so that become attached to what one has already given, and then saying, no, I cannot give any more, I've already given. So putting a ceiling how much one can give and think that one has already touched the ceiling. So that's the third attachment. Fourth one is attachment with hope of getting something in return. So that's a giving, but with the attachment to get something to get. Giving to get, that's the whole thing. Fourth is the attachment to get more in return. So that's the fourth attachment, yeah? Fifth one is believing in the good karma and merit in the future if I give this now. So attachment to future reward. Future reward. It's very difficult, isn't it? Future reward. Fifth one. And the sixth one is attachment to miserliness itself. Miserliness itself, which is one is always feeling stingy, and one is so good at becoming stingy. One is really, really good stingy. One is king of stinginess. So one is attached to stinginess. That's the sixth one. And the last one is general distractions. Just forgetting to give, whatever. You're too busy to give, or you were too tired to give, or many distractions. So these seven attachments are very important to remember um, when we go through the list of the vows. Okay. Now this seven is not only to do with the generosity, but they are also to do with the discipline and patience and so on. And so, you know, so you can almost interpret that yourself. So so anyway, now we come to the actual list of the 46 secondary vows. The the 46 secondary vows are divided not only between the six parameters, but also with six parameters. But generally, all vows are three types: prohibitive vows, prescriptive vows. Prohibitive means what one should not do, yeah, what one will abstain, and then prescriptive are what one will practice, yeah. So, and then, for instance, in generosity, the prohibitives are ones is to over you are prohibited from being stingy. And what you have to practice is you have to practice generosity. And then the third is the benevolent. Even if you did both of the other two, you get rid of stinginess and you are practicing generosity, but still it is very important. It is benevolently beneficial to other people. So often the intention of bodhicitta is very important to check whether our motivation is concordant with the actual act of, say, generosity. We are giving a lot of time or money or things to people, but yet deep down one feels, oh, I don't want to give this anymore. This is way too much. This will be last time I'm going to give. I wish I didn't give. This is too much. If you have this, then it hasn't become benevolent giving. So that's why it's very important to interpret each of these vows in relation to these three: prohibitive, prescriptive, and benevolent. Now, these are not in the comment. These are not in the list of the Bodhisattva vows. So these are just I'm offering you so that you actually have received teachings on the Bodhisattva vows. Okay, so there are 7 of these 46 vows, 46 secondary vows, are to do with the first paramita, perfection of generosity. Particularly, first one is to do with material, because it talks about not offering, yeah, not giving, not offering or not giving. So I just make sure that I'm looking at the right text or copy which you all got, yeah? Yeah, not making offerings, yeah? Not making offerings to the triple gem through the body, speech, and mind, yeah? So as a bodhisattva practitioner, one should try to make offerings. So to the triple gem. When we triple gem means triple gem refers to the Buddha gem is usually represented by a statue or tanka. Dharma gem is represented mainly by holy scriptures. Dharma books can be do, but holy scriptures. And then Sangha gem is represented by Sangha gem, or the Sangha gem could be represented by Bodhisattvas, Arhats, or again statues and tankas, those which is consecrated and blessed. All Mahayana Buddhists and Theravada Buddhists too, they are required by Refuge vows to have these three symbols wherever they live or go or travel, and make regular physical and verbal, mentally, one should offer. One should make offerings of flowers, water, incense, and then physical bow downs and verbally chanting in front of it, like reading Dharma books, doing your sadhanas, and have deep devotion. All of these are thou shalt. Thou shalt, as a bodhisattva vow holder, should do that. Now, if you are secular Buddhist, can you believe there is a group called secular Buddhist? And they don't do any of this. And you know what they do? They gather in a group, sit around a circle. They don't have anyone as a teacher. They might have choose a particular person to facilitate the evening or the meeting, and all they do is 1 minute silence. And they don't have shrine, they don't make any offerings. At least when they gather, I doubt they will do it at home because they're secular, remember? and then they start talking, chit chat, So as a we are not secular Buddhists. We are traditional Buddhists. We are Mahayana Buddhists. We believe in the teachings and its precepts and the tradition and lineages and prayers and bells, or maybe even blowing whistles. If the tradition requires, like we might do the prayer wheels, or we might do incense, we might bow down, we should do that. That's a bodhisattva vow. Now, as a secular Buddhist or people who don't do this, they don't keep the bodhisattva vows because they don't have, maybe they didn't have. So, therefore, not making offerings to the Buddha's holy symbols, speech, and Dharma and the Sangha from your body, speech, mind, either by making prostration, or reciting the prayers, or doing meditation, is a secondary transgression with regard to generosity. Because generosity here is not just giving material things, it also means respect and devotion of your time. Give generosity with your time to bow down, time to recite the prayers, time to acquire symbols of the triple gem and put them nicely and in your home. This kind of practice is traditionally very important Buddhist practice, later on Mahayana Buddhist. So so one should make sure that one does this. If one fails to do honoring, making offering to the triple gem by our body, speech, mind, it's a transgression. It's a secondary transgression. And then the second one is in relation that is the not following, not following due to one's own greed. One is following after one's greed, and therefore one is not restraining one's craving, but instead one is following one's craving and greed and dissatisfaction with the things what one has. So what it means is, as a bodhisattva practitioner, it's a bodhisattva's vow in relation to generosity. One should be contented with whatever place or things or possessions or positions, relationship, health, whatever you have, you should be contented what you have. And for a practice person to practice generosity, for practice generosity, he has to have contentment. Not only what he has, but he have what he can give. So, if one follows greed and coveting and craving, that is a transgression of the bodhisattva vows. So that's why you can see this is to do with the one's coveting, because generosity is wanting to give, and opposite of that is wanting more to get, and coveting, and greedy, and even dissatisfied with whatever you have, wherever you live, whatever job you have. That is transgression of bodhisattva. Bodhisattva should be contented with what he has, but also he should be able to give things from what he has. But he always thinks that he hasn't got enough. He's always coveting. He's always greedy. He would not be free to give. So you can see that is a transgression to covet and be greedy and follow one's dissatisfaction. So what is the vow? Vow is to restrain coveting and greed and dissatisfaction. And what transgresses is that is doing the opposite. So that's the second, I would say, secondary transgression or pertaining to generosity. Generosity, yeah. And then the third one is not showing respect to the elders. So the elders are three types of elders. One is elder who are age-wise, senior. We call senior in Australia, senior by age. In most good cultured families, they always serve and give things to the elder people first. Whether they are Buddhist or not, they always look after the elderly. And so not respecting the elders is one. And second is not respecting those who have more knowledge or qualities than you, so senior in the knowledge and qualities. So not respecting person in a job, like say someone who is two, three levels higher than you, not respecting them is a transgression. Qualities. The third is practice. Senior in practice, person who has been maybe doing 5 years, 10 years before you. You should always show him or her the courtesy and respect, but not showing that respect because respect is not a demand by others. Person who respects others is really happy, because he has ability to see the quality of elderness or senior in qualities and in knowledge and others. He has a humility. He has the quality of humility, and therefore he can show respect to others. A bodhisattva practitioner should always see the others have many more qualities and the knowledge and seniority. We should always assume. We shouldn't think he's younger than me, he knows less than me, and then we start doing that. We're not showing respect culturally, ethnically, racially, linguistically, all kinds of problems that our society and people meet is because we do not showing respect to the elders. So our bodhisattva should show respect. See, the generosity is not just money, not just is just behavior, just behaving, and conducting, showing, like say, until someone has already his seat or someone has his drink, you don't go and help yourself, um, going helping somebody first, and because they're a little bit senior, they are a little bit senior in positions, or they know more than you, you're always looking up to them. Always being able to render respect is a normal good way of living. Now a bodhisattva who don't show respect, and maybe compete with equals, and look down upon the junior, and envy to the senior. If we did these three, then these are opposite. These are opposite of the respect. So we should burn this competitiveness, this envy, this arrogance, but instead show respect. So that's the third vow, third transgression, if you like. And then the fourth one is not giving answer. Not replying, giving answers sincerely, ask questions. If of course, doesn't mean that you have to give answers for things you do not know. This doesn't mean, even if you do not know, you can always carefully, courteously tell that you cannot answer that. But otherwise, one should give a very sincere answer to the questions, and one should not give wrong or uncertain answers. One should give the answers with competence and sincerely, and so when people ask you questions, say maybe people want to know the road, they lost in the street, and because we live in a very kind of stranger dangerous situation, they think that all the strangers are danger, and therefore don't speak to the strangers. If the stranger asks for the direction, we may not reply. How to go to the post office? What's the nearest train station? If people ask in the road, as a bodhisattva, we should tell whatever we know. Because these days people say, don't speak to strangers. But somebody lost their way or want to ask something, and to not answer their question will be a transgression of a bodhisattva vows. So you can see these are quite specific, really, quite specifically tailored in relation to the practice of generosity. So if you look at the first one is not offering your body, speech, mind, meaning to the triple gem, and second is not following your greed and craving. So that is you can see the opposite exactly. It is really what that was cause of stinginess, really. And then not showing respect to the elders. This is not about material things. It's just like emotionally, because someone who's very old, and they probably need generosity of emotional support. If we respect them, if we open the door to the elderly, or offer the chair to somebody, and like that, these are giving of fearlessness, really. Otherwise they're afraid nobody cares. But if you offer the seat, if you offer that, then they feel very hopeful. They're no longer fearful among strangers. They know that some strangers also give them respect, if you give way when you're driving, and it's very very, it's someone who's elderly, maybe rushing, maybe they are running out of time. If you give them away, something like that, these are the kind of generosity, small acts of generosity, of kindness, is what the Bodhisattva must not only intentionally but also in action. So giving great care, and then and answering questions that you can sincerely give the answer to people. Not replying someone's questions, whatever reason you have, is of course a transgression. And the fifth one is not accepting invitations. So not accepting invitation, of course, most people will be delighted to receive an invitation, don't you think? Uh, uh, Even if someone did give you an invitation, they have usually RSVP. RSVP means you have to tell them whether you are coming or not by such date and time. It's a courtesy thing. They invited you, but you didn't say you can't come, and then don't even acknowledge that, is of course is a very bad manners. So therefore, it is important that we should try to make an attempt to fulfill their wish, because they really want your presence at such a time, and they value your company. They usually write such word. They say they will be delighted to have your gracious company. When you read it, you must go. So there is that. It's so giving your time to acknowledge the invitation, whether they wanted to give you a lunch or a dinner or a party, or a little, maybe they want to take you out for a boat ride or whatever. If we think that we are too big and the person who's inviting is too small, so maybe we are refusing out of arrogance. See, the Bodhisattva should not have arrogance. Bodhisattva says, "Oh, I have no time to go all the way for that, just for a lunch. Oh, I don't, it will take me this long." So we are starting to feel stingy about time, don't we? So not accepting the invitation, you have no idea how much value you are going to the invitation might have for them as well as for you. So small gifts sometimes makes amazing shifts. So therefore, a Bodhisattva must put all his good wishes in, and the ability to benefit sentient beings. So that's why not accepting someone's invitation, will be another transgression. See. So you better not have many friends. If you have, you might as well fulfill their wishes. Not accept. And then the sixth one is not accepting material gifts. Yeah, not accepting material gifts like some sponsors or your friends or others might give you something like gold or money or whatever people give. And if a person is not accepting or rejecting the gift out of saying, "I'm a Buddhist, I don't hold gold, I don't touch gold, I don't touch money, or he can take it for me, he's a novice," that kind of thing in some of the monastic vows might be so important in their monastic vows, but from Bodhisattva point of view, it not accepting someone's offering such as gold or food or money, thinking it is dirty money or whatever it is a transgression. So therefore, um, uh, if somebody is if somebody is offering you something, and you know he doesn't have much himself, and you really don't want to accept it because you want him to keep it, even though they feel indebted to give it to you, but you want to refuse it out of compassion for them, then it's a different matter. But if one is refusing someone's gift, yeah, out of thinking that thinking whatever deluded mind, such as arrogance or anger or jealousy or whatever it is, or harboring pride, I don't accept these things. No, I don't accept gifts from people. I have enough. I don't need your thing. That kind of thing. A bodhisattva should accept even half an apple. If somebody offers half banana, you should accept it. Maybe with the COVID reason, maybe you can refuse, but otherwise, we should always accept what other people offer. Otherwise, it may look very much arrogant. So that's that. Number 7 is now is not giving dharma to those who seek dharma. So this means people who are into teaching dharma, who are role of teaching and who have knowledge and expertise and so on. Then if somebody asks certain dharma, and this doesn't mean you have to always say offer straight away, but meaning that there are courtesy, how on what ground you may say, well, no, I will not. There may be good reasons for you, but your intention of what you can't do is to do with the worldly reasons, because of grudge, because of whatever it is. And of course, not teaching dharma when people ask is a transgression. Of course, there is a tradition of some teachers don't accept to give teachings because the level of the teaching, the people asking, or his or her level of expertise or knowledge doesn't allow them to teach. Of course, one has a valid reason to refuse. But this talking about not teaching Dharma when people request out of some afflictions, out of some mental affliction, and not saying it's too hard for me, it's too early for me, or too late for me, too long hour for me. If one is starting to make these grievances why one can't teach and therefore refuse to teach, is a transgression. So these seven vows, which is seven minor transgressions we have gone over, are all related with the first of the 6 paramitas, perfection of generosity. So when you look at this in relation to the 7 attachment, then you can see whether one is too attached to your things that you are not giving. You can really look at these 7 vows in relation to the 7 attachment. It will greatly inform you to understand the nature of the Bodhisattva's vow to practice generosity. They actually say that you should practice generosity at least 6 times a day, 6 times a day. I mean, offering flowers and doing prostrations before the triple gem is one, and of course, and then giving things to people, food, clothes, advice, direction, and all of that is another. And then, of course, teaching Dharma, answering questions of people. All of these are pertaining to fulfill the Bodhisattva vows. So now we will. So that this practice of generosity will have one analogy. Like we had all the analogies, first 4 analogies gone. Now the 5th analogy is treasure. Treasure means your practice of generosity should be like a treasure. What does a treasure mean? Treasure means that there's so much things in the treasure box, or that you can get whatever from the treasure and fulfill your wishes and wishes of the other. Yeah. So like that, those who practice generosity, they will become the treasure of happiness to themselves and to the people who they give to. Because to the people who we give our time and energy to, they will treasure you. They will treasure your generosity. And you will, a treasure never run out of things. By giving things, you will never run out of giving, It always comes. The more you give to people, that much more it comes naturally. Amazing, the law of karma, that if you give, the thing you give makes you more happy than thing you kept. Because the thing you have in the treasure is cause of treasury of happiness. And so, how do you remember? You should remember this analogy. If you want to be happy, practice generosity. If you want the other to be happy, practice generosity. If you want to solve problem between you and others, practice generosity. If you want to help someone who is anxious, who are helpless, practice generosity. Because it's a treasure. It's a treasure of happiness. People who are happy are those who are generous. When they're generous with the words, deeds, not just money, some people we call in the West is only checkbook father. He only spend the money, but actually doesn't give time to read the story to the children, or don't take them to the playgrounds. He doesn't do that, then he has a lot of misery. If he spent time taking kids to the playground, or do their homework, read stories with them, help manage different chores in the house, then he's a very happy father. Because he's a treasure of happiness comes from his giving time to his family or to his job or to help. So those who are not practicing generosity, they haven't got the treasure, yeah? So they are miserable because they're miserly. The word miserly is called miserable. He's able to become miserable. And that's his ability. Because he doesn't know how to open the treasure. He has not been given the key. Now we are given the key. If we practice the Bodhisattva vows, we will find the treasure to happiness. Not only to us as the one who is a giver, but to those to whom we give to, and those who witness we are giving, they all become happy. They all find hope in humanity. So that's why, please remember that the 5th analogy of the 22 analogies of the Maitreya on the Bodhisattva vow is a treasure. So generosity is a treasure. You should treasure generosity. I'm not saying not only treasure people who are generous to you, but you should try to practice generosity already. Maybe you're already practicing kind of a obligatory generosity to your children or to the poor or to the weak, but we usually aren't giving the treasure generosity. Generosity that is the treasure of your happiness, treasure of your usefulness of material, ephemeral possessions. Okay, so that'll do. So that concludes the vows, seven secondary vows pertaining to the first of the six parameters, generosity. Now we come to the vows pertaining to the perfection of self-discipline. This is there are there are 8 vows. There are eight. Anyway, let's go through one by one. So this one, the first one is in terms of the so that is the actually the that's the vows number 8. Eight secondary transgression is neglecting those who have broken their precepts. Broken those precepts. So here, of course, it is saying that of course we have to make sure that we don't break our precepts. But if that doesn't mean others who have broken precepts should be treated with contempt. So we should not belittle or ignore or not forgiving those who have broken their vows, those who sincerely are regretful of their transgressions. We shouldn't ignore them, saying they have failed us or they have betrayed us, and we should not belittle them or disparage them. We should not reject their apology. If we do that, that's a transgression. So this is very important vow that some people are, quite a lot of people, in fact, they think that someone who has done some little wrong, they don't want nothing to do with him. For the Bodhisattva, you can't do that. You have to help sentient beings who are struggling. So if they have someone who has broken their vows or transgressed something, we should not put them down. We shouldn't disparage them in their face or behind their back or talk about that to other people. To do that, these days people write some even heresies, and then they make it as though that's a terrible thing, and make people believe, and talking about that to each other. Terrible things I read, this is what these two people did, but most of them are not even true. So how can you belittle somebody or reject somebody on the basis of that? To do that, even if you know someone has done this against their vow, still to ignore them, to disengage from them, is a bodhisattva's transgression. So even if some say those who may have committed any of the 10 non-virtue deeds, or may even committed some of the 5 heinous crimes, instead of being compassionate, being forgiving to them, if we disparage them, belittle them, ignore them, and talk bad thing about that, then we also lose our vows. We transgress our vows while thinking other people's are terrible. A bodhisattva should have compassion to those who have transgressed, saying, I too have many transgressions. I too suffer from many flaws. Their flaws is very small. How could I be so arrogant? So one should not belittle and ignore others who have transgressed the vows. That's a very, 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 very important. Number 8. Number 9 is not upholding training in the self-discipline for the sake of one's faith. Yeah, and so that is yeah, because if we should try our best. What it means that we should try our best to instill faith in other people, so that we try to feel ashamed if we make other people lose faith. So therefore, not trying our best to instill faith in others. Instead, we don't care, we don't mind, we don't give a damn about it. If we to do that is a transgression. So that's why one should always train in the teachings, in the precepts, so that others do not lose hope and inspiration and faith in us. And particularly if you have few people who are looking up to you. So one should never think I'm nobody. Who will look up to me? Maybe your children will. Maybe few of your friends will. So always try to do something to inspire them, to instill their faith. That is the Bodhisattva's vow. But not doing that and going against that is, of course, the transgression in relation to one's self-discipline. Number 9. Number 10 is Chawachung in Tibetan means doing very little for the sake of other sentient beings that is beneficial. Yeah, so one is always a minimalist. I'll try to do the smallest amount. Let somebody else do the heaviest lifting. That I will do just a little bit. Always trying to do as small as possible, as minimum as possible, so that that kind of mentality is a very, 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 very lesser vehicle. Very, 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 very minimum means very small-minded. See, the Bodhisattva is big-minded, big heart. One has to take up good deeds for the benefit of others to attain enlightenment. And one were meant to attain enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings, but here one is trying to do as little as possible to help sentient beings. So that is this number 10 is a little bit interesting, because saying that say the 7 non-virtuous deeds of the body and speech, such as killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct, first 3 of the body, and then and the telling lie, using harsh language, and spiteful language, and idle talk. These 7 are non-virtuous actions of the body speech, and so one would not do any of these 7, because one is meant to keep these outer vows of the body and speech immaculate, to impress others, to attract respect from others. But one thinks, for the sake of bodhicitta, actually one should. If one has to do, even transgress one of the physical or verbal vows, so be it, if your purpose is for the benefit of sentient beings. So one should see the transgression of either of the 7 physical and verbal vows pertaining to the pratimoksha is possible, is okay to break it, for the sake of safeguarding the bodhicitta for the benefit of sentient beings. So this is a story of the Shakyamuni Buddha as a bodhisattva captain who in order to save the giant killing his 500 merchants, he took on the act of killing the giant himself, so that the giant does not have to earn the karma of killing 500 and create a heavy negative karma. So intention of, for the sake of, so the small act of negative karma killing one, he doesn't mind carrying himself, so as to prevent the other giant killing 500 people. So that's referring to that kind of examples. Because Bodhisattva vow is largely mental vows. Physical vows, such as physical and verbal vows, are small transgressions. So one can't exchange losing one's mental vows or bodhicitta. So it's referring to that. It's referring mainly to that, number 10. And number 11 is not committing compassion. Exactly. Next, not committing compassion. With compassion, one of the 7 non-virtuous action, if circumstances deem necessary. So this is exactly, I think I was already explaining that, you are not going to commit killing the sheep captain, one person, or telling lie, or you wouldn't tell a white lie or gray lie, because you want to keep those vows intact, but only to protect yourself. So doing that would be the not committing any of the 7 non-virtuous action with compassion, because if one is a truly bodhisattva, who the benefit of motivation is to benefit the one person from having to carry the heavy karma killing 500, but he himself doesn't mind killing the other. With that kind of heroic act of motivation to that, he didn't mind killing the giant in order to save the 500 from being killed. So that's what they're referring to that. And then the 12th one is accepting material with the wrong livelihood. So that is the wrong livelihood. There are 5 types of wrong livelihood. Yeah, wrong livelihood means how you make a livelihood, make an income from wrong ways, wrong livelihood. The first one is called flattery. This is using kind of nice words, flattering words to people to so that they will give something to yourself. And so the second one is using kind of a hinting, so that you use some kind of hinting language that they say, oh, what you gave me, what did you do last time was so great, and so that you can get another one. So that kind of hinting. And the third one is giving to get, giving small things to get big things, So that will be also kind of a wrong livelihood. And fourth one is using force or using your power or position that others have to give, that kind of a very kind of a inappropriate way to get something from others. And then the fifth one is giving small things to get big things. Yeah, to get big things, hypocritically, basically. So in this way, any form of the 5 wrong livelihood, using that is a transgression. So because you can see these are not only in relation to perfection of self-discipline, but also perfection of generosity, because if you do any of these, they all transgress the vow of the generosity as well. So vow of generosity as well. And then the 13th vow is engaging in idle gossip with various frivolous activities, being excited, distracted by, and attached to amusement, wasting time which could be used to practice Dharma. So this is talking about how one is becoming so wild and engaging in various kind of temporal enjoyment activities and wasting a lot of time, and instead of giving time to practice, study Dharma. When one practices Dharma, one always has short of time. But when one engages in these kind of social gatherings, gossiping, talking, dancing, outing, all the sporting activity, the one has lots of time. So a bodhisattva who do not know how to restrain his time and energy into those areas is of course will be transgressing. And then the 14th one is he is one who is not making any attempt to eliminate his delusions, and so therefore he's holding some attitude of thinking the bodhisattva do not to eliminate delusions, and so as if he has some way to avoid doing that because of his misunderstanding or misinterpretation of bodhisattva practice. That is a 13th one, 14th one rather, and then the 15th one is not trying to eliminate bad traits of one's behavior which may cause a bad reputation. So that is really saying that a bodhisattva who knows that he has taken bodhisattva vows in order to help him to trim down his bad habits, and if he's not trying to eliminate those bad habits, and he has no intention of doing that, he doesn't fear shame, he doesn't fear bad reputation, and doing them carelessly is of course the transgression, another transgression. Now the 16th one is not correcting one's deluded actions and attitude, or not helping others wrong views. So this means one shouldn't be careless, careless. And if one is in a position, one should take the effort, try to correct one's own behaviors, and as well as if one is in a position to help others, one should do so, and not doing them, ignoring them as it's none of your business will be a transgression. So these 16 secondary vows are pertaining to the second perfection of self-discipline. Now the analogy for the perfection of discipline is gem or jewel. One who is good at guarding his self-discipline, what he has to abstain, what he has to practice, and what he has to do to benefit others by observing these 8 so the 9 precepts, by the way, actually there are 9 of these precepts are to do with the perfection of self-discipline. Self-discipline in Sanskrit is called shila. Shila comes from the word cooling effect. Shita labda. Shita means dewdrop, and labda means attainment. So the dewdrop attainment is usually, if the dewdrop falls on your skin, you will feel the cool, cool. Likewise, those who observe this self-discipline, they will be calmed, they will be cool, and they will have a great sense of attainment. And what is that gem? They will be the gem not only to their way of life, but they will shine like a gem. If you have a very disciplined person in a group of people, he or she is a noble gem. He's a gem. We call His Holiness Dalai Lama the wish-fulfilling gem. Yes, in the monasteries, whoever is very good disciplined practitioner, he or she is always revered like a gem. And like the gem becomes a source of happiness, and a person who is able to guard his self-discipline, not just physical one, verbal one, but also mental vows, then he becomes like a gem. Even the Sangha gem. Sangha gem is because the Sanghas are living by the precepts. Dharma is a gem because Dharma teaches people to keep the disciplines, or to guard the disciplines. Buddha is a gem because Buddha realized practicing perfection of self-discipline. So even the triple gem is made gem by practicing discipline. Discipline is the foundation of the meditation and wisdom. That's why the Nagarjuna says that self-discipline is like a foundation. Like the earth is the foundation for all animate and inanimate people to live on, trees to grow on. Likewise, the discipline is a foundation of all the good qualities to grow and cultivate from. So this is the secondary vows connected with the perfection of self-discipline. So we will have a break now. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in 15 minutes' time.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche. Dear friends, a list of the vows is shared in Zoom chat in English. They will be translated to all languages later and will be shared with all who registered for the Sakya Friends live stream after these teachings are finished. Now we have the break for 10 minutes. Tomorrow, same time, Rinpoche will continue the teaching and will bestow the ceremony so that we all will receive the Bodhisattva vows tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Om Mani Padme Hum.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you. Now we are continuing the second half of tonight's teaching. We have already covered the first secondary vows pertaining to the perfection of generosity and perfection of self-discipline. Now we are going over the vows pertaining to the perfection of patience. These are to do with practicing patience. Practicing patience is a very important part of Bodhisattva. Being patient means that one has to see the virtue of not harming anyone, and particularly if somebody is already harming someone, including us, it's important not to retaliate, because that constitutes patience. So patience means not retaliating if someone harms oneself. So this has four vows in relation to the perfection of patience. So that is the 17th till 20th. The 17th one, it says, it says in your in the root vows, yeah, it's it's because the practice of patience basically is not harming when one becomes harmed. So not retaliating when someone insults you. So that's the 17th one. Because if someone is insulting you or criticizing you, blaming you, and try to humiliate you, if they did any of these, it's most likely they are already in deep distress. So the cause of patience is they're insulting you, they're accusing you, they're harming you, and those who are harming someone, accusing someone, and insulting someone cannot be patient when they're already doing the cause that destroys that. So therefore, not insulting when someone insults, and not criticizing someone criticize, not blaming when somebody blames you. This is the would be the Bodhisattva practice of patience. So if one retaliates the blame with blame, insult, and if someone physically hits you or verbally insults you, that time one has to practice patience. Why? Because the Bodhisattva has the courage to forbear the temporary hardships, sufferings, in order to prevent someone's aggression from escalating. So Bodhisattva should learn to de-escalate the aggression of others by knowing that his or her aggression and insult to us is mainly cause for us to practice patience. One should think like that, because then you are training for the cause of patience is working with the impatience and anger, blame, and insult of others. They may look very opposite, but they are the very raw materials that the fire can burn only the fuel. Fire should burn the fuel to destroy the fuel. So if you employ your patience, their insult to you becomes cause of your tolerance and strength in knowing he or she is so distressed and so tormented by their anger in whatever they are. Maybe nothing to do with you and me, but largely to do with what kind of day they had, what kind of ill health they're going through, what kind of difficult things they have gone through at home or work or business. You should think like that and feel compassion, how they are so driven with such aggression and anger to you or to others, and then see the uselessness of retaliating anger with anger, insult with insult, and blaming with blaming, and should therefore armor oneself in not minding the insult they did, because if they said some words, did you think the words harmed you? A word harms you, you should not keep any dictionary at home, because all the words that harm you, the person says, is in the book as well. So you should throw all the dictionaries. So the words that he says does not harm you. Your own vulnerability and offendability is the problem. They're saying insulting words, or even they're throwing stick at you or rock at you, and do you want to be angry with the rock, or do you want angry with the hand that threw it, or do you want to be angry with the affliction, anger of the person that makes the person to throw the stick? So which is the one which you wanted to fight with? If you want to fight with the cause of the anger of the person, then working with the anger of somebody is the practicing patience. So therefore, you have to train in the cause of patience. That is, to cause of patience is to work and understand the anger and abuse of others as a suffering that they have been going through so long, and therefore you don't insult with insult, blame with blame, and like that. So the Bodhisattva should be well armored to be not insultable, not offendable, because the words and stick the person said or heard to you does not harm you. The person himself is more harmed by his anger than he is trying to harm you. So you should reverse compassion towards him. Not showing compassion when somebody blames and insults and beats and humiliates to you is a transgression of Bodhisattva vow. Remember that attachment to impatience is the first of attachment, first of the 7 attachment. Thinking I'll practice patience later on with somebody else but not with this is attachment to procrastination. Feeling that I have practiced patience with this person all these last few months, now this is enough. This is attachment to feeling that your patience is enough. As you have practiced maybe 10% patience, but you have yet to practice 90%. You are minimalist. You're attached to minimalist patience. So, therefore, instead, one should improve the quality and quantity of your patience. So, therefore, work with the cause for patience is someone harming you. Oh, I'm so lucky today. I met a Bodhisattva who gave me opportunity to practice patience. Maybe he is a disguised Bodhisattva, who knows? Maybe he is someone, my past life mother, who I have been impatient. Now she is reborn here, and now I'm getting it back. Think like that, and will make you really think twice. So that's the vow number 17. Now number 18 is giving up. Yeah, giving up those people, or rejecting those people who are angry at you. You know, if somebody is angry at you, you don't want to talk to them. You know, you don't want nothing to do with them. This is this kind of anger. You know. So vow number 18 is neglecting or ignoring those who are angry. Let them be angry, and you just pretend you don't know. You of course do very much. So we should not be ignoring those who are angry. We should try to listen, to talk to them, explaining them what happened. Maybe maybe we can pacify them. We can just listen and look in the eyes with compassion, and apologize if we did something to upset them. Truly show that we are concerned. We don't want them to be so upset and angry. We want it to be calmed. And so because of that, you deliberately not mind what they are angry, but try to apologize if you did anything wrong. So not doing that and giving up with angry people, and you can say, you get out of my sight, or oneself just bangs the door and leaves. That is how the Bodhisattva giving up with angry people. With angry people, we have greatest opportunity to practice patience, because the anger can be stopped. Anger is just an emotion that is misunderstood. You as a Bodhisattva is interested in emotionally what is happening. It is not about the person, it is the problem. Person is not the problem, your anger towards him is. You should think like that. When we know that person is not the problem, my anger towards him is. But my anger towards the person has to be given up, not the person who we think is instigating our anger. But what instigated his anger? Maybe we did something wrong, maybe we did something unskillful, maybe we did something unspecial, maybe he had a bad morning, maybe he had a bad night, maybe he had a difficult something just hour before. Maybe this is the cause of his anger. He's just trying to vent out to you. Think like that, and therefore don't see the need to ignore him, reject him, or give up on them. Bodhisattva should not give up even with one sentient being, let alone with an angry one. Bodhisattva should work with angry people. Bodhisattva should not go to island where there is no angry people. Bodhisattva should work in the workstation where you have quite a lot of aggressive people. And then try to not ignore them, but try to work with them. Try to calm them. Try to teach them that you are interested to de-escalate their anger and hostility and ill will. Poor person, how did he become so upset like this? Maybe one person ignore, another person ignore, another person tell him to go away. That's how he gets so upset and angry. Maybe this is the orphan, this is the little child I have to rear. Think like that. And cry, shed a few tears. That how many people may have shown a a dark face and never looked at him kindly. And you don't want to be the next, do you? Because you're supposed to be a Bodhisattva vow practitioner. So look in his eyes. Show them that you are interested to calm his mind and pacify him. Bring a cup of tea. Tell him what can you do for him. Change the subject and hold the hands and look in his eyes as a real friend. Then you will find a practice of Bodhisattvas, practice patience, is to uncause someone's cause of their anger. This is what the Buddha taught. Buddha taught the cause of everything, including the cause of stopping the causes. Amazing. And so you are now fulfilling that, heeding to the teaching to the Buddha, and now you are trying to uncause their anger with your patience. But if you give up on sentient beings who are angry, you are transgressing the Bodhisattva's practice. So that's the 18th one. And the 19th one is not accepting apology, that is a really difficult one, isn't it? If somebody has sincerely offering apology, you reject the apology through your anger, through your hurt, saying, you already hurt me this much, it cannot be healed. And so therefore a bodhisattva should accept apology. Not accepting someone's apology because one is angry, so one is not willing to uncause one's anger. They're apologizing so is to calm your anger. They try to uncause your anger, and you are not accepting that. Here, the previous vow said you should uncause the cause of their anger. And when somebody is now apologizing, if you were told to apologize to uncause someone's anger, and when somebody is now apologizing, if you're not accepting that, you're contradicting the previous vow. So therefore, one should accept an apology, because then sincerely accepting the apology of somebody is very important, very, very important. As soon as you accept their apology, their wrongdoing becomes a cause of the merit of friendship. Previously, their wrongdoing was going to almost destroy your friendship, because you were not going to be forgiving them, but they apologize. They apologize. As soon as they apologize, there's a whole new window opened. And you should see how gracious they are. This is very practice we wish to do, and they are the one who apologize, and then you also apologize to them. And when both apologizes, then it becomes, the problem is solved. So not accepting someone's apology, saying he's done too many times before, and so on, and becoming very, very mean and resenting past wrongdoing, that's probably is the cause that we can't accept someone's apologies. We are so resentful of some other things. So that is a very important practice of patience. And so now the 20th one is following and acting out one's thought of anger. Now this is like one has no intention of getting rid of one's anger. Instead of trying to eliminate it, one is precipitating it, and still one is saying bad things, one is reacting, one is repeating what the person did, saying what they did, and instead of cultivating patience, one is stirring it up. One is stirring the very anger instead of extinguishing the anger. So what one is doing? One is following. One is committed. One is dedicated to remain angry, So it's exactly addiction to anger. One has no understanding. It is poison to be angry. One is addicted to the poison of anger. One thinks one has multitude of reason to stay angry, and one has no intention to go to bed without anger. One still go to bed with anger. One has the intention to rise up with anger tomorrow. That is not bodhisattva. That is transgression of the bodhisattva's vow to practice patience. Because they say that there is no great negative karma than anger. There's no greater virtue than that of patience. So, but you cannot practice patience, someone who's always polite and nice and courteous, always praising to you. You can never practice patience. And most people don't want to upset anybody anyway. So someone who is doing something that you think angered you is probably very short supply. So if you have some people who makes you angry, you should try to be keenly interested. Or there must be some real, lost love between you and this person, So this very anger is cause of future love, future kindness, future friendship. So instead of thinking that anger is some cause of suffering, one should see that anger is cause of patience. And somebody's, anger and your own anger, one should learn to eliminate it, because otherwise you would not see any good, you won't see remember any qualities of other, because anger can just completely close your eyes. I usually say that anger makes you do 4 things. It makes you to close your eyes of rationality. It makes you to open your mouth of carelessness. Third one is it tightens your fist of aggression. And then you jump into the cliff of self-harm. That's what the angry person does. Close eyes, open mouth, tighten the fist, and then jump. And what does he do? He only harms himself more than anybody else. So a bodhisattva should not follow his anger, but instead should try to terminate it, eliminate it, pacify it, and purify it. Not doing that would be the transgression of practice of patience. So practice of patience, which we have just concluded, the analogy for practice of patience is ocean. The ocean is everywhere, If you live in Vietnam, if you live near the Pacifics, if you live in the Europe, in the Black Sea or whatever, always ocean. Ocean's everywhere. Every time you see the ocean, you should remember how patient she is. All the cities are putting all their sewer into the ocean. All the rubbish, so many things get thrown into the ocean. The ocean is so patient. Why? She's so deep. She can accept everything. So we should therefore use the ocean as an analogy to emulate that our patience should be deep like ocean, And so it doesn't, all the waters of the world fall, all the rivers fall into the ocean, all the sewers of the world goes into them, whether clean or dirty water, all goes into the ocean, but ocean tolerates all. It is the home of some of the largest sentient beings like whales live in the ocean. Small fish, like not even the size of your little finger, live there. So many sentient beings live there. It has never rejected anybody. So like that, we should remember ocean like patience. Your patience should be like ocean. Ocean is deep, and it has huge capacity. Likewise, we should use the patience as a reminder, ocean as a reminder to practice, to make our patience. So our patience shouldn't be shallow, shouldn't be miserable, shouldn't be just on one location. The ocean is one taste. All oceans are salty, and all oceans do not discriminate where does Pacific begins, where does Atlantic starts, where does South China Sea starts, where the Bay of Bengal starts, or Indian Ocean starts. The ocean never gives demarcations. It's we are the human who put boundaries over sea. So likewise, we should practice our patience. Our practice of patience should be, our practice of patience should be like that of ocean. If we remember that, then we will be not attached to impatience. We will not procrastinate practicing patience. We will practice patience where and when is necessary. We will not say, I will do later. We will never say, my patience is thin, and I have done enough patience. We will not put a ceiling over it. No, we will practice patience. If I practice patience, then he will be nice to me tomorrow, with that kind of motivation. No, we should practice patience, thinking if I practice patience, I will be reborn in the Deva realm, that kind of thing, or with a tall body, that kind of future reward-seeking mind. And we should not be attached to impatience, and we should not be distracted to practice patience. So therefore, all of these vows really, I would say, begs the freedom from those 7 attachments. So now we're going to go over the secondary vows pertaining to the 4th paramita, perfection of diligence. Yeah, perfection of diligence. Perfection of diligence. This has 4. There are 4. So these 4 are to do with the practice of patience. So that's from verse number 21 to 23. First one is in Tibetan says, trying to attract followers with the intention to in desiring some material gain and offerings or some material benefits. So this is mainly for people who are teaching Dharma. Dharma should not be really put as a commodity. Dharma should not be taught with intention to gather material wealth or followers or some advantage or like that, or reputation. Anyone who teaches Dharma diligently, but if they're doing with some material, some hidden agenda, some material advantage, monetary advantage, or some respect, or that intention. So you can see how this is a vow of intention. in relation to it. Someone others, some people very diligent wanting to teach, but you may wonder what the intention is, So a bodhisattva practitioner should be diligent to do whatever, but do the virtuous things with no hidden agenda of to seek any material value or people or company or any kind of mundane benefit. But sheer love of Dharma one should teach. So this is, of course, if you're not teaching Dharma, there's not a lot of problem there. But if you're teaching Dharma, it's very important. That's why the teachers, when they sit on the seat and they have to stay in prayer, how to generate the right intention. What's the intention to teach, It looks like teacher is always emphasizing the disciples to check the motivation and make sure they generate the bodhicitta to attain enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. He has his own need to remind that to himself, so that he is not teaching with a short kind of lived, short-sighted, worldly, mundane, material intentions. So we should not, do that as a kind of utmost purpose to gain, to raise fund and all of that sort of thing. Some people always think when the teachers are traveling around teaching, they are there to raise funds. Maybe that's mainly because in the early 70s, 80s, 90s, Tibetan refugees were trying to build a monastery they don't have, and so they were really always begging, So, so there is that, but the general motivation of the teachers should not be to raise fund for themselves or gain any advantage. So even if they don't get much money, they should still teach, but not to teach because they can't get, the money. So wanting to get money, when the purpose is to get respect and honor and monetary value, that is a transgression in relation to that. And then the 22 is not dispelling or not getting rid of one's laziness, laziness and procrastination, saying I'm too tired, I'm busy, I'm sick, I got too much to do. Of course, not everybody will be willing to say yes, I will do, because because they have other things to do, so to speak. But whether the person is not dispelling his laziness, or he's mainly have other commitment, you can say, oh, due to prior commitment, I can't teach. Who knows whether the prior commitment is laziness? Prior commitment is laziness and procrastination, then so one should even if one is teaching late, one can rest early in the afternoon, so that one can, some people have a very bad health, and so they cannot teach. So maybe that's a excusable excuse. But otherwise, a bodhisattva should be diligent. He should be always available at the disposal of the sentient beings, and to then giving in to his laziness. In laziness there are three types of laziness. Thinking that it's too much for me. It's called self discouragement. One is indolence, just sheer laziness. Physically, I cannot do it. It's too early for me, or too late for me, or too long for me. These are laziness. It's pure laziness. And saying, I like to rest, I like to sleep. Attachment to comfort. Attachment to comfort. So there are three causes of laziness. So if one does not eliminate any of the three causes of laziness, and then not work for the sentient beings, that is a transgression of a bodhisattva. Bodhisattva should eliminate these causes of laziness. So that's the 22nd, yeah. And then the 23rd is 23rd is passing time by engaging in meaningless talk and objects of attachment and idle gossip. So this is where people who are not time conscious, who are not good at time management, and they are able to spend hours talking useless things, going to places with very loud people, and they stay up very late, and then they're not tired, and then they're not sick, and then they are free. You see, so they have very poor time management. As a bodhisattva should be very time conscious. He should be very careful in making himself time rich to practice dharma, to do the good deeds without any failure, since we have a commitment to fulfill the wishes to benefit sentient beings. One should be very time conscious, and one should be very economizer of your time in other worldly activities, other frivolous activities, meaningless activities. It's said that you cannot finish your worldly job by doing worldly job. You finish worldly job by giving it up. If you don't stop, it will never be stopped or finishable. So one should prioritize how much time I can devote watching sport, or doing recreational things, or going to social things. One should not spend so much time in those things. Death, Lord of Death, is walking, coming closer and closer to you. He's already at the next door neighbor. He's going to call into your room or your door next time. So therefore, there's not a lot of time that we can afford to waste. And that's why it's very important to develop commitment, how not to waste any more time. So that's why in order that one doesn't break any of the vows pertaining to diligence, one should not be attached to laziness. One should not be attached to thinking I'll do later, procrastination. One should not be attached thinking I have been very diligent, I've done this much already, putting a ceiling to what one has done. One should not be diligent with the hope of gaining some reward, either in this life or in future lives. And one shouldn't be attached to sleep and enjoyment and time passing. If one takes precaution from all of these, one will be able to keep up the vows pertaining to that. And so that's the perfection of diligence. Perfection diligence, the analogy for perfection of diligence is diamond. Diamond means diamond. Whoever has a diamond, they're happy. They're delighted to own the diamond. So likewise, anyone who is diligent with his bodhisattva's vows and conduct, he is very, very happy. He has diamond. Even diamond brings only happiness a little while, but the one who is delighted by doing virtuous deeds is the diligence. So diamond is very precious, and it's a gem of most precious among all stones. Diamond is unbreakable. Even some small piece of diamond still has a shape of a diamond. So small right effort. Diligence is right effort. Right effort is right because delighted in doing virtuous deeds. We are not referring to diligence to doing bad things. That's not diligence. That's addiction. Diligence in doing good deeds for the sake of others, and you find yourself a mind of diamond in you. All of each and every one of your commitment to do the Dharma, to study Dharma, to work for the Dharma, to read, to translate, to edit, to listen, to publish, to organize, to assist like this. These are all diligence. These are all diligent. And we should not just be diligent because our friends need us. We feel I have to do, I suppose he needs me. But we should be delighted ourselves, we should be delighted. And when we see another person delighted, we become inspired by his delightfulness. And everybody is full of diamond now. So we all are owners of diamond. Don't look for the diamond that people will give to you. Look for the diamond that you can cultivate. Diamond was mined under rocks that are non-diamonds. So only diligent people have discovered diamond. Diamond doesn't float on the surface on the earth. Diamond doesn't float on the surface of the ocean. Diamond is deep down in the earth. You have to diligently mine it. Likewise, we have to practice diligence with a lot of joy in practicing bodhicitta. If you have joy, you know why? You will have joy because you're practicing Bodhisattva's way of life. Your joy of having won a lotto, or have a good share trading result, or you have a promotion, they're very short-lived, They'll come and they'll go. But the joy of practicing Bodhisattva's way of life, practicing kindness, tolerance, generosity, study of Dharma, helping each other, this joy is true diamond. So we have covered all these analogies. The treasure for generosity, gems in general for discipline, ocean for patience, and diamond for diligence. All these four on top of the previous four, so the eighth. And now we come to the vows pertaining, Bodhisattva's vows pertaining to the perfection of meditative concentration. Meditative concentration. These are, in terms of list, only 3, but of course a short list doesn't mean it's very short. So the vow number 24th is not remedying the obscuration to your meditative concentration. So meaning that you're not making effort. You're not making effort to learn properly how to meditate. Maybe you haven't heard the teachings on meditation. Maybe you haven't learned them properly under the instruction of experienced master, and you have not learned what are the obstacles of meditation. So the obstacles of meditations are many, So therefore, if one desire to learn to meditate, one must seek the guidance and instructions properly. And if you have never learned how to meditate, never listened to the teaching, never tried to do this, is a transgression. So, so the so the practice of meditation needs to be free, and need to be free from those obstacles of not having received the transmission, not received the teachings. And then the 25th one is not eliminating the obstacles in this meditative concentration, because meditation has two sets of 5 obstacles. One according to general meditation, one specifically for calm abiding and special insight meditation. The first one is obstacles in relation to general meditation. Desire. Person who is desiring comfort and enjoyment, sensory enjoyment, this is an obstacle number 1. He cannot meditate because his desire. He go to retreat, but 2 hours later he want to go home. He desire comfort of his own home. He desire certain food or other things. He can't meditate. And second is ill will. He has a lot of anger and ill will and resentment and sadness, and he can't meditate. That's the second obstacle. Third is fogginess and sleepiness of the mind. And fourth is regret. And many people who meditate, they have a lot of guilt and regret, and then become agitated. And then fifth one is doubt. So these 5 are general obstacles to meditation. These next 5 are specific obstacles in relation to doing calm abiding meditation and special insight. And also that would mean also with your sadhana meditation practice as well. This second list very much similar to the first list, but they are here. First is laziness. The person who is lazy, will not meditate early in the morning or late in the evening or in the middle of the day. It is never convenient for him to meditate because he is attached, his obstacle is laziness. He is either too busy, so he thinks, or he has no time, so he thinks, or he is not convenient for his body or for his time, or he is discouraging himself. This is too much for my body. I'm already 60. I cannot sit up and do this many mantras. So one has number of excuses of being lazy. So that's the laziness. And because of that, he can't recite the mantra or do the sit-up meditation. Every time he's inconvenienced. So that's the first obstacle. Second is forgetfulness. Forgetfulness meaning the person may have received instructions on how to meditate, where to meditate, and so on, but he is forgetting. He doesn't remember the meanings and pros and cons and instructions and what should he do at the beginning. He forgets that he should always say Bodhichitta, Refuge and Bodhichitta prayers. Some people blatantly doesn't want to do prayers at Refuge and Bodhichitta at the beginning. Why? Because they're secular Buddhists, remember? They forgot that traditional Buddhist practices are important. They deliberately wanted to ignore, turn a blind eye to the role of devotion and prayers. So it's not forgetfulness, total lack of respect, disrespectfulness. So their meditation, their mindfulness could be any mindfulness. People who are developing weapons also mindful. So what kind of mindfulness they're practicing? they are practicing forgetfulness. So forgetfulness is another obstacle. And the second is the dullness slash agitation, dullness or agitation. So these two take turns. If you're not dull, you're agitated. If you're not agitated, you're dull. If you're not dull, you're distracted. So this third obstacle is dullness or agitation. And then the fourth obstacle is non-application. Non-application meaning the meditator is not getting up early. He is not preventing laziness. He's staying up very late. So he didn't take precaution to go to bed early, and so he's not applying the antidotes to the previous obstacles, and he's not applying the instructions. He wanted to skip the prayers. He thinks it's religious. He thinks it is it's a kind of a theistic sort of theistic practice. He thinks it's a religion or something. There's lots of people these days want to meditate, but they don't want to do the many things. They don't want to apply prayer, meditation, and the religious ideas. So non-application people are so many out there. And then the fifth one is over-application. Over-application means you shouldn't be overzealous, so much so that you're putting so much effort too much too soon. You should slowly develop your meditation, stage by stage, not try to do too much too soon. So not trying to remedy any of these 5 obstacles is the 25th transgression. So one should learn to overcome laziness by faith, determination, diligence, and pliancy. One should overcome forgetfulness by practicing mindfulness. One should overcome dullness and agitation by introspection. One should overcome non-application with application. One should overcome over-application with equanimous application, balanced application. Not applying any of these 8 remedies is a transgression. So that's the 25th. All of you doing your sadhanas or meditation, these are very important. Doing your meditation is a fulfillment of your Bodhisattva vows. Bodhisattva has to meditate. You think it's Vajrayana commitment, People say, is there any commitment? Yes, there is a commitment. They say, no, I don't want to do it with commitment. What kind of practitioner is that? Bodhisattva has a minimum commitment to meditate. And so what are you doing? If you receive sadhana, and if you do the sadhana, it goes to boost your Bodhisattva vow of meditative concentration. So, and therefore, you will be applying, you will be eliminating the danger of not doing meditating, because you have a commitment to do the sadhana, and which is fulfill the commitment to do the meditative concentrations, because sadhana is meditative concentration. If you're translating, if you're writing, if you're meditating, if you're studying, you're also using concentration, meditation. You would definitely overcome laziness, forgetfulness, dullness, non-application, over all of that when you employ your right effort. So that's the vow number 25th. And now vow number 26th is the is attachment to the flavor of samadhi. flavor of samadhi, meaning person is very attached to small experiences in the meditations and always trying to find some quick, blissful experience from meditation. And so that kind of, and then becomes so engrossed in doing the meditation only, and without doing other areas of his duty, His other duties at home or work or society are completely neglected. He become kind of a meditation centric. He becomes so attached to meditation, and therefore he is failing in his other duties. So if a person becomes a, so that's why attachment to meditation is also attachment. Remember that. So there are certain roles and responsibilities, duties that you should pay attention to. If you are doing gardening, if you're doing cleaning or washing, you should develop concentration in enjoying doing those things as well as your meditation. So the meditator should also have some degree of moderation, because attachment to the flavor of samadhi, is it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be dedicated to a meditative concentration, but you shouldn't be attached to short-lived flavor of some experiences and then always trying to do the meditation to repeat those experiences, and then always attached to that bliss, that experience, and then always trying to become attached to that form of meditation alone, and not being able to do various prescribed form of meditative concentration. So with this, so that's the meditative concentration, which is the fifth paramita. Of the fifth paramita, analogy is mountain. Your meditation should be like a mountain. Mountain is always there, cannot be moved, cannot be shaken. So your meditative concentration should be not harmable or movable by any of those 5 obstacles. Why? Because you will remove those obstacles. Laziness, you will remove with faith, determination, joyous effort, and pliancy. And forgetfulness, you will remove with mindfulness, isn't it? So if you could be moved by forgetfulness, your meditation hasn't become mountain. You have to learn to remedy forgetfulness with mindfulness. Mindfulness of doing the breathing, mindfulness of sitting in the right posture, mindful of knowing the meaning and symbolism of the posture, mindfulness checking and correcting and improving the posture, and mindfulness of believing in the inside of the right meditative posture. For instance, that's just posture, And so you are not forgetting to keep the body straight. You're not forgetting to keep your back straight and shoulders balanced and the chin slightly tucked in, and all of that. You're not forgetting. You're mindful. You're sitting like a mountain. You're not getting up and down and restless, not like a mountain is always still, So your meditation should be very still. When your meditation is very, very still, you can see the dullness as dullness. You can experience distraction as distraction, and then you will introspective of dullness as a sign of desire, agitation is sign of unresolved anger. The other 5 sets of of obstacles to meditation was talking about desire and ill will. In these second group does not list desire and ill will separately. Why? Because dullness is caused by desire, and agitation is caused by ill will. So that's covered, you know. So your meditative concentration should be very stable. You cannot not apply your effort, right effort. If you apply the right effort, you will be mountain, like sitting still. You know, if you're not sitting still, then you're getting up and then getting up and sitting down and getting up, sitting down, changing your posture again and again. That's a non-application. That's a restlessness. So one should apply the stillness. I usually say that your meditation should, all meditation practice should have 4 S. The English word S. First is stillness. The stillness is the stillness of your posture and your overall posture. And second is sincerity. Your intention should be very sincere. And the third S is your attention should be serenity. Your attention should be very serene and not scattered. And fourth S is simplicity. So if you apply all of these 4 S or 5, try to remove the 5 obstacles with the 8 remedies, then you will develop your meditation. So that's why this analogy of mountain. The meditation should be like a mountain. You know, Shakyamuni Buddha definitely achieved the mountain of meditation. His meditation was not just like diamond-like, also mountain-like and ocean-like, because all of these qualities of diligence and patience, as well as his concentration, was like a mountain, very still and stable. So we have concluded the teaching up to the 26th tonight, and that's all we can cover. You know that we have tomorrow night we will go over the remaining 20 vows, and then I will be able to do a short ceremony of Bodhisattva vow. Why? Because this is a Saga Dawa. Saga Dawa is a very auspicious month, not only receiving teachings on the Bodhisattva vows, but actually formally take the Bodhisattva vow ceremony. So at the repeated request of Sakya Friends, I will also be able to do the a short ceremony at the end of tomorrow night after we finish all the teachings. So thank you very much, everyone. We will now conclude here with the dedication of merits, and all of you have really listened with great all the 6 parameters. Yeah, you're generous with your time and attention, your discipline to put everything off but listen, give your whole attention, and being very patient and not give up in the halfway of the session saying this is too long. I thought there was 2 hours, he's going 3 hours. Not putting a ceiling to the time, and stay very, very, very patient, and have a very strong concentration, and particularly for the translators, at least being able to pay attention and translating them. All of these are already paramita practices. So we are not just talking the list of the vows of Bodhisattva, but we have been practicing them together. And the merit of doing that is even greater if we share it and dedicate it for all sentient beings. So with this in mind, we will do the dedication merits. Om Badis Mere Mewe Overcome Dadifa Menzenge Omnis May I liberate Obi from the ocean of birth all destinies Herenda Mayana Diji Kareva Merit I have Truhoda Mahayana Diji Courage Manju Shinyu Azama Tabadra Dilai following all the example I shall dedicate all the merit Mede excelle Bodhichitta Treva Veda Noyedanza where has been meeting freely without generation